Birthday of the day, Ben Finzel, president and founder of RENEWPR. How, where are you celebrating your birthday and with whom? Dinner and an overnight at the inn at Little Washington with my husband, Mark. How did you get your start in Washington? I secured 2 internships, one for the House Select Committee on Hunger, UNICEF's Martin Rendon and Glenn's Neil Flair, and one for Representative Bill Sarpolius, D-Tex. I was interested in the Select Committee's work and Marty and Neil were kind enough to offer me an opportunity to work with them. Rep. Sarpolius represented Lubbock where my alma mater, Texas Tech University, is located. When I was not at one of my internships, I developed a series of lists of the target congressional offices on a yellow legal pad and I went door to door to House offices introducing myself and leaving my resume with the receptionist. This process yielded an interview and I was hired as press and legislative assistant for U.S. Representative Tim Valentine, D.C., in March of 1990. What's an interesting book, article you're reading now or finished? And why? I'm reading 1920, The Year That Made the Decade Roar by Eric Burns. It's a fascinating look back at a pivotal moment in our history and a useful reminder of the perspective necessary to deal with the challenges of today. I was a history major at Texas Tech and I'm always interested in learning more about important moments in our past that might shape our future. What is a trend going on in the U.S. or abroad that doesn't get enough attention? With apologies to your readers, who do know this from your coverage, I'd say that the erosion of America's leadership around the world is something that is likely only top of mind for folks who are following the daily ins and outs of Washington. That means most Americans are probably not aware of the real-world implications of our ongoing retrenchment. We seem to be abdicating America's position as the leader of the free world. Getting out of the Paris Agreement is not just bad for the environment, but it's bad for the American businesses that would have benefited from American leadership on the continued development and deployment of the technologies needed to respond to the growing threat of climate change. Denigrating the EU and NATO and other international organizations is not just bad for our reputation and relationships, but it's bad for the future stability of the globe politically, economically and socially. Minimizing the role and importance of diplomacy in general is not just harmful to our ability to influence positive global outcomes that help the global economy and environment, but it's harmful to our national security because it weakens our ability to prevent bad things from happening. How is the Trump presidency going? It depends on whom you ask. If you're a Trump supporter, you probably think he's being unfairly maligned and he's not getting credit for the things he's done. If you're a Trump opponent, you probably think this is the worst of times given his work to roll back human and civil rights, his decision to get out of the Paris Agreement, his disengagement on the world stage, etc. To me, the folks we should be engaging are those people who are neither supporters nor opponents. What do they think? I'll bet an increasing number of them think this administration is on the wrong track. And while they may be interested in plain talk and less politics, they're probably also interested in a country that works and they're probably becoming concerned by the crude behavior and abdication of responsibility on basic government functions that seems to be becoming the norm in this presidency. What's a fun fact that people in Washington might not know about you? I'm a huge fan of Gary Trudeau's Doonesbury. I have a collection of Doonesbury paperback and hardcover books going back more than 40 years to the first paperback collections of the strip published in the mid-70s. HT to my dad for giving me my first book.